Welcome back, players, traders, and haters. Hope y'all had an amazing weekend, right? Hope y'all didn't get into the FUD too much, didn't give into all that stuff that was going on Twitter and online and the scare tactics that were happening, all right? And yeah, just let me start off real quick before I get into it. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, right? So don't take it as that. Take it for educational and entertainment purposes only. All right, guys. So yeah, obviously, we all know the guy from New York, right? The big AMC guy, and he pulled a move on Friday, right? That I did not agree with, and I think he just did it for clout. All right. You guys all know Lou versus Wall Street, right? He was talking about delaying this, delaying that, and how he wasn't happy with the move and blah blah blah. But always remember, he's not the CEO of AMC. He just talks about AMC and he has insider information and whatnot, he claims, right? But he just talks in his videos, so he never actually has like proof, right? Receipts. I'm a different, style of reporting, of giving you information. I'm always going to bring the receipts, all right? So, yeah, that's why I like to stay off, Twitter and YouTube and all this stuff, social media stay off of it on the weekends because it can be manipulated as well. All right. So in my opinion, he was just doing it for clout. He just wanted a lot of views. He knew, he knows people are nervous and are like, oh, we're looking to know what's going on, right? Because it is such an important week for AMC and for the stockholders, for retail, for Apes, right? So I'm here for y'all, and I'm holding my AMC shares, all right? And I've explained why I think, this is the right move. And even though Adam Aaron is not my favorite person, right? It's like, okay, I can see where he's coming from and what he's trying to do. And I'm always going to try to bring you clear information, right? Detailed information with the receipts. And today I got you. And today I just kind of flipped my thought process. I was like, okay, if I was a short seller, which I'm not, I'm a long term investor right now. I'm holding long shares, right, on AMC, and I'm here for the short squeeze as well. So understand that first. But I just flipped the psychology, right? I was like, well, if I was a short seller, what would be my thoughts right now if I was short on AMC? And yeah, we can talk about that real quick. I'm just gonna, in my opinion, tell you that I think D-Day is August 19th. All right, there's a lot of things, a lot of possibilities that can happen from now until then. I've been telling you guys from what the information that I got today, Monday the 15th, is the last day for retailers, right, to buy the shares and to hold them. And technically, you're supposed to hold them until they pay them out, right? So until the 19th. But the thing is, they're not going to be tradable until Monday the 22nd, all right? And so that's interesting, the dates, right? Like the way Adam Aaron is doing it on a Friday. And then that's good. Going live on a Monday, not just a random day on a Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, right? He's just starting off the week right there with the ape shares. And there's a lot of FUD like saying that he's gonna drop, 4.5 billion right away or something. No, guys, like that's what he has in the chest, right? That's what he has available. It's kind of like with the AMC shares, he explained that, a lot of the stuff gets approved, but they do it throughout the years, all right? He has the tools in his chest or whatever, and his, what he calls it, his tool chest, in order to have that availability, because then he can, strategically play out what he thinks he needs to do or not do, all right, for the company, all right. He's always, his top priority, guys, is always going to be the AMC company, all right. So yeah, we're gonna get into that information. There's only 4 minutes left in the trading day, and AMC is pretty much dead even. All right, so they were just ping ponging back and forth all day. The shorts, they're just trying to scare people, right? Like, hey, maybe if they decide to sell because of this FUD, that FUD or this fear that we're putting out there, whatever, right? AMC is pretty much flat, and the volume's 48 million. With what shares, who knows? Especially this week, like I stated in my last video, how is even AMC even trading this week, right? If basically AMC is gonna do the share count from the 15th to the 19th, right? Because they have to have everything kind of. That's why they're saying like you should be holding. If you trade between these times and you expect to get the dividend, then you have to contact your broker. And obviously the brokers are not on our side, guys. We're their customers, like, right? We give them money. That's how they make money off of us, especially with PFOF. But the brokers and the short sellers and the hedge funds, they have a stronger relationship because they make money with each other, right? They lend the shares to each other, right, and back and forth and blah blah. That's what I'm gonna explain to you guys right now, real quick, right? So let's get into this. And remember, this video, the point of it is to kind of explain to you how short sellers would think, because according to this, I've shown you guys before, it's from a credible source. I can't remember it's like something brokers online, right? I don't use their platform, but this is where I got the information. This means that you could be liable for a substantial payment, which is the dividend, or take on additional significant economic exposure if you are short at the close business on the day prior to the ex-dividend date. So that's what in my opinion, and from this information, the short sellers have up until the ex-dividend date, which would be Monday. All right, that's the ex-dividend date that was established. But while, basically until Friday, I think, is if they have to decide, because on record right now there's 95 million shorts, right? These are the real ones. We're not talking about synthetics right now. We're just talking about the real short sellers that are on paper. So 95 million shares currently, right? Which says it's about 18%. I'm gonna go show you this real quick. Short sellers, short interest, sorry, owners, short interest. It's gonna take us here. So these are the updated ones, right? As you can see, the ones we've been talking about, Susquehanna, they still have their puts open, and it's 7.2 million worth. All right. So they might be taking a huge loss, because what you have to pay attention to, right, is the dates. So all the green ones are new positions, new shorts. They're playing with the options, but there has been some shorts right here that have established themselves, right? As of the 27th, July 27th. When you go back to the chart, guys, and they're so down. If they started their position and reported it right around here, this was when AMC was around 13, 14, $15. We're at 24, 22, guys, right? Their clock is ticking right now, right? The short sellers. The ones like those that I just showed you, look at all this movement that happened ever since, right? It went way up to 27, and they were blocking it right there, right? So just keep that in mind, right? These short sellers, they're down right now, right? The green ones, the ones that established here. And these are all still open, so the shorts are still there, right? We have proof the shorts are still there. And here's what it comes down to, right? So broker borrows shares from in-house account. So if shares are not available in-house, then he borrows them from another broker with lendable shares. So that's why you always see the shares pop up, right? Because it's not just like one broker. It's like they're always, the shorts are always like looking to different brokers to see where they have gotten people to sell, right? So they can go and buy, or where, on certain platforms where people have not changed their settings and not allowed, short selling or borrowing of their shares, right? Like me, I make sure I have that off. I do not want my shares being lent out. So if then they go and borrow from another broker, right? You need to distinguish covering the short from having the margin to cover the short. If stock is trading, it is buyable and the short is coverable. If the trader's account lacks the margin to pay for the covering, then the broker closes out the existing positions in the account to cover the deficit, long and short. If that is insufficient to cover cost of purchase, then the borrower chases the trader legally for any outlay may be made by the broker, right? Because it has to do, when you're shorting, you have to have margin, right? This is kind of like an example. So 10,000 market value, 5,000 in equity, you have a credit of $15,000. So that's what they talk about, like with margin calls, right? If your margin falls out of that range and stuff, they're going to margin call you, right? And okay, what I want to explain is the two sides. So are investors short a dividend paying stock entitled to the dividend, right? Because there's FUD out there, right? But I like to go to the facts. So shareholders may buy a stock in part to collect the dividend payment. Dividends are profits distributed to equity owners, and shareholders of dividend paying firms are eligible to receive them as long as they own the stock by the ex-dividend date, right? That's the 22nd, but like I said, if you want to play it safe as a retail person, you wanted to have bought by today, and you should be holding, right now, financial advice, do what you gotta do, but if you should be holding until the 19th, until they pay it out. What happens if you sold short a dividend paying stock, right? So shareholders of dividend paying companies as the record date are entitled to collect declared dividends. If, however, you are short a dividend paying stock, you are not entitled to receive the dividend and must pay it instead to the lender of the borrowed shares. If you sell short a dividend paying stock after the record date, you are not responsible for paying a previous declared dividend, right? Announcement date, right? We had that when AMC announced the dividend. The ex-dividend date is the first trading day on which buyers of a stock can no longer qualify for a previously declared dividend. It's called the ex-dividend date, or simply the ex-date. For instance, if a dividend has an ex-date of Tuesday, June 5th, only the shareholders who purchased the stock prior to June 5th are eligible for the payment. The record date is the cutoff date set by the company to determine the roster of shareholders, which in my opinion is Friday, all right, the 19th. Here we go. And it's all based on this information again from the website, right? Investors who trade during this period should consult with their broker, right? Whether you're buying or selling, right? That's their recommendation. So the record date is typically the next business day after the ex-dividend and 2 trading days after the last day on which share buyers qualify for a previously declared dividend. Payment date is the 19th for this dividend, right? MC, the Ape dividend. The company pays the dividend on the payment date, also known as the payable date, which is when the money gets credited to investors' accounts. Now, that's what I'm saying. The clock is ticking for the short sellers. If they do not close out by Friday, they are now going to be responsible to pay the dividend, right? The Ape dividend right now, nobody knows the price. So nobody knows what it's going to open at. It's a variable. It can shoot up in price, right? When it opens, if there's a lot of demand that comes in, retail, FOMO, institutions, whatever, right? We don't know what can happen. They know what's going on with AMC, right? And then and from the information that we have is that it's going to lose a little bit of value that's going to be transferred to Ape, right? So let's go on to this part, how to avoid a short sale dividend payment. If you're feeling bearish about a stock, you can bet on your sentiment by shorting the shares. In a short sale, right, you borrow the shares from your broker and sell them. You must later return the shares to the lender broker. So you're hoping that you'll be able to purchase these replacement shares for less than the earlier sale bought in short sale. You must make the lending broker whole for any dividends on the stock, right? They're responsible to pay the dividend, guys, right? Dividends are cash or additional stock payments to stockholders when you borrow shares and short them. The lending broker is still entitled to any dividends that the issuer pays on the shares that were lent by the broker. You therefore must make payments in lieu of the dividends to the brokerage to reimburse it for the dividends that they would have received. These payments reduce the potential profit you might realize from the short sale, and thus you don't want dividends involved. Some nimble trading might allow you to avoid a payment in lieu. So it's all very like that's why D-Day's here, guys. Judgment Day, right? D-Day Friday, Judgment Day Monday, in my opinion. Because dividends tend to support a stock's price, it is natural that you would prefer to short a stock that pays no dividends. The world is full of stocks that pay no dividends. You might find one to short. The rub is that the day after the short shares, the issue board of directors might announce a new recurring dividend. Income-oriented investors would probably flock to the stock and drive up the prices. Higher prices and new dividend are not the ingredients for a successful short sale. Higher prices and a new dividend are not the ingredients for a successful short sale. All right, there you go. In print. So real quick, I'm going to show you what I see on the chart. I've had this drawn out and it pretty much played, right? So when I drew it out, right, we had to come see a bottom. This was the drop right there. And then you see a pop up. You see a drop down, which is where we're at right now. And then so now in the next couple days, I mean, I could expect them to try to scare, right? The next 2 days, they might try to push this back under, maybe to this support over here, 2021, all right? But then I think we would get a big bounce. Now, there's a lot that can happen. There can be share recalls, right? If the owners that own the stock, if it's the brokers or the institutions, they can recall the shares whenever they want. If they think that whoever they're lending them to is not going to be able to pay them the dividend, guys, they can recall the shares, all right? So that's what I'm looking at, right? We're still in this channel, and I've had this for a while. I'm just leaving it there because I'm watching. But you also have the EMAs crossing here, right? So that's a good sign, bullish sign. This has cooled off a little bit, the RSI. But again, what I reference to is the prior run-ups and what kind of happened there. And check this out. Once you got the run and you broke out, right, you came back down a little bit before you take off, all right? And same thing happened over here, right? You get a pop, you get a retrace, and then you start making moves to the upside. I don't have a crystal ball, guys. I cannot guarantee this is what's going to happen on these dates, right? And I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving you my thoughts and opinions on what I see. And then here, and it's an educated guess, right? Right here, right? So that's what I'm saying. You could expect maybe 1 or 2 more red days before we see a big move to the upside, all right? And it lines up, the 19th is right here, right? And they're gonna, on Friday, right here, which would line up to make that move, all right? Because of share recalls, in my opinion, right? So that's what I see on the charts. what I like about what's going on right now, there's a lot of bullish action on the options chain, right? But I don't see the point of buying or trading options right now. I think to me it's all about the shares, right? Because you're only going to get the shares if, or you know, the Ape dividend if you own AMC shares, right? So the company said. Max Payne is at $20. It's at 24.17, so they're already starting the week off negative, right? As far as the market makers. And if somebody returned these shares today, they were there, whatever, right? But we have 75,000 calls in the money. If we go down, that's a good chunk, right? This one's saying 68,000, but still way more than the puts in the money. And then of course I just want to show you, this is where I'm basing my information off of, from the company, not the brokers. I trust AMC more than I trust the brokers, right? So that's why I'm getting my information from them. Yeah, that's all I really got, you know. Let's switch this back up. I just want to try to calm people's minds, and I have the receipts to back it up, guys. That's what I'm looking at right now. It's just about waiting. I don't understand how the stock is open right now, you know, because everything should be locked, kind of, in my, you know, perspective. Like, how are they trading all the shares if we're holding, right? I don't think that worked over the weekend where people are scared or whatever, right? Because of the video that Lou put out or whatever. I'm definitely not doing that. I think it's the right chess move, and I like that, you know, Adam Aaron finally took action. And Ape is still a variable, guys. Nobody knows the future. Anything could happen with it. They could release it and it could just start running. We don't know where the demand's going to come from, but it could come from that fact too, right? The short sellers could also get fear, right? If they're like, oh crap, I owe the AMC share and the Ape share, and this is rising, right? I have to find those Ape shares, right? So yeah, guys, that's what we got for you. Hope you had an amazing weekend, right? I hope you get to, you know, cool off and relax today, right? Because we have an important few days ahead of us. This is a crucial time for AMC, all right, guys? So catch you guys in the next one. Shout out to the new subscribers that I got over the weekend. I appreciate y'all. We're going to continue to push and grow the channel, all right? The more, you know, we grow the family, the more, you know, the better. And that's what I'm here for, right? For the retail investor. So catch you guys in the next video. Later.